we just need to get the wee clasp thing on the Luminor so it's spring loaded.
Yeah.
And
that's
sharp.
illegal in the UK now.
Illegal in the UK. Let's make Panerai illegal in the UK. That would solve so many problems. So protect the Panerai of knives, or
they perform a lot better than a Panerai. I feel like they're a cut above in terms of attention to detail.
Right, well, let's move on and get on with our show. So, I'm still not quite sure the order that we do this in order to get our new clappage. That's the Swiss pronunciation of the clappage, le clappage. In order to get le clap in. So I was going to go for this bit of marketing this morning. I don't know if you can see it. This is from BaerneyWatch.ch. And this is them celebrating their premier participation, GPHG. In other words, they're celebrating something they paid to this line. Where is it? I've lost it already. It's early over here. This bold piece is now competing for the Grand Prix de Horgy de Genève, marking the brand's first participation and decisive turning point in its history. It paid $5,000 to enter a competition, and that's the decisive part in its
Is that a
history.
clock, or what is it? What
are they? Okay, they're going to get a baby fist if they win, but like, what category is this in?
Oh, who knows? Probably complication.
No,
it's a category they made up
but
just
they
for
have
the event.
it's like something or something, and it's just like, what even does that mean?
You're going to make me go GP. The GPHG watches are now back on the website. 2025 edition competing watches. So they have the Moser is
Tell
still
our
there.
listeners what happened, Rick.
Yeah,
what do you mean back? You were the only one in the universe to spot that.
It disappeared. It came and it went. They released all the watches that were on the list, and then it disappeared for a couple of days, and then it came back. Unfortunately, the Time Wayback Machine hasn't recorded a snip, so I can't tell if anything changed from the original release to the current one, whether there was something going on. Anyway, this watch here is competing in the ladies.
It is a watch, not a ring or a clock. I could not tell you the object.
Let's do this live. Or GPHG. It is this one here, the Berney Watch de Panda. It doesn't really. It's quartz.
Pendant or what? Did it say pendant?
If that goes on your wrist, that's obscene.
I think it's a pendant. I think it's a pendant. It's a
panda, but that would be hilarious if it was also a pendant.
Let's hope there's no live music.
So close to success here. Oh my God.
This
actually looks like a Chopard anyway.
I'll share this. There's a video. There's a video on YouTube.
Enough about the pandas? They like...
it's a panda munching on diamonds.
There we go. That's...
All right. That's fantastic.
It there.
Bernie.
Fantastic.
Almost as rare as a real panda.
Anyway, let's give Bernie a clap to start our show for the... Oh, actually, that's not true. I said this was the marketing that I was going to use for the show, but I changed my mind. It doesn't actually make it. The marketing that I most want to look at this week is this little bit of paid content from our very own Ripley Sellers, who's clearly tipped someone off. I want to know, how much did it cost you? Are you really under 30? And when do we see...
I'm the ish.
Are you the ish? I thought that.
Ish. Yeah.
I thought that.
Yeah, I'm not under 30, but my lack of facial hair, I think, allows me to be a contender for it. This was a pleasant surprise. I wasn't on Instagram much that day, but I had a bunch of messages, and it was people notifying me of this. So thank you, Watchanista. I appreciate it.
I mean, I'm just looking for, when are we going to see on the podcast the insightful storyteller blending technical knowledge and cultural commentary? Normally, it's mostly about the wall behind you and what hat you're wearing. So I'm curious as to what have Watchinista been looking at that we don't get to see on the show, and why does it not mention the wall? I almost wanted to put an editorial point that says no mention of the wall. It's like a puppeteer without its puppet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even wearing any brand swag in that photo. I've got my hair in a Hawaiian shirt.
How old is that photo? That photo's quite old, is it not?
So confused.
No, it was taken. It was taken the week I started at aBlogtoWatch. I got an email from Ian, who manages our website, and was like, "Hey, can you send me a photo right now? I'm updating the masthead." And so I'm by myself. I don't have anyone to take a photo, and I'm not going to try to finesse a tripod. So I walked outside of my home. I see my neighbor across the street. I said, "Hey, would you mind taking a photo?" I'm standing in front of their house. They took a quick photo. I sent it to Ian, and it was all done.
And did you get the appropriate sign-off rights for that photographer using, like, is he giving away his, because he took the image, so it's technically his image.
We took it on my phone, so I think that might,
it's a bit dodgy. Anyway, that is our marketing piece to cheer.
We could do it like the media alerts and just have Getty image all across my face. That would be it.
Oh, yeah. I'm waiting for the Getty image watch collab. I think that's something that needs done. Maybe a Sick-on Getty Images watch collab with somebody. Anyway, celebrating all the images that get stolen by everybody else. Right, let's do our clapping. So, just a well done. Just me and David clapping. Well done, Ripley. Well done, Ripley. For
that picture looks very, very professional. Looks like you just stepped outside of a very lavish hotel at a fantastic event, and you have a paparazzi
shot on iPhone 6.
Snap that. Oh, ooh!
And it must be fantastic to have been sat there going, I'm over 30 now. I'm just never going to make any of these under 30 lists. And then somebody invents a get out of jail free clause for you. It's just an ish clause, 30-ish. So welcome, Ripley. Welcome to our show, everybody. If you missed the preamble, you should go back and check aBlogtoWatch Weekly Live for all the preamble chat about the Hungarian Grand Prix and why we've been giving Ripley the clapping Ripley in rather.
Hopefully not the
clappage from Ripley. Right, let's get on. I think we start here. Is it just me, or has there not been one of these grinding gears? Have we missed one?
No.
It feels like it's been a while since I've enjoyed a grinding gears.
I will take that as a compliment.
Yeah,
I do like these grinding gears.
I miss your grinding gears. Give us, the clues in the title. I think without even reading the article, I know the brands to which we're referring to immediately, I think. But give us your lowdown. Why did this bubble up to the surface to get its own article?
What is the brand that you suspect?
As soon as I saw this, I suspected this is talking about Seiko.
And yet it's not.
It's not? Okay.
A tiny little bit, yes.
Right.
Maybe half of it, but the trigger actually was Casio, of all things.
Casio,
They took a brave pill and made their first ever mechanical watch.
But doesn't it use a Seiko movement?
And it does indeed not use a Seiko movement. It uses a TMI. It's disguised as TMI, which is basically the Swiss tempo of watchmaking. It's like, it would make us look Casio bad if the caseback said Seiko on it, but it's perfectly fine if it says TMI, even though that's actually a Seiko all the same.
But what's with TMI? It was like SII for a while. It was like Seiko Instruments something. Like they keep changing their name. It's like Chris Ward's logo. We all know it's Seiko, but at the same time, the third-party white label movement manufacturer's gone by like at least 3 different names that I can think of.
SII is it still exists very much so, but it's in the development and commercialization of semiconductors, micromechatronics, and precision machining technologies, whereas TMI is Time and Module Inc. By Seiko that was set up in the 1980s at some point. So basically, it's their OEM or white label company.
Well, if I've got an NH35 that was sold as a SII, does this make my random micro brand more rare now?
No.
Wow.
It makes it
Confused.
Completely, yeah. And actually, these little things, these Casio edifices or edifices, they say TMI on the rotor of the movement, which is a shame. And but there you can find the same NH35A that says SII in the exact same spot of the rotor, which is ridiculous. And so but whatever, I'm like, okay, maybe if Casio wanted to ruin their whole, historic moment, then let them have it their way, of course. But at the same time, I was thinking about, wait a minute, I think this has a tangent in which we're not drifting away from these minus 35 plus 45 or whatever movements, but rather we are drifting towards them, in the sense that here comes a historic brand, or maybe not historic, but hugely important, gigantic, wealthy, well-established brand like Casio, and looks at one of these movements and then shrugs and says, well, I guess, we can get away with this. And then they reach out to freaking TMI and order a bunch of these movements that can gain up to 5 minutes, over 5 minutes in a week. And yes, Rick, the title is a good summary of the point that I'm making, but at the same time, the article itself goes on to discussing where the line might be between acceptably and unacceptably accurate watches. And I try and not single out Casio here. I try and also discuss a little bit the greater prospect, and also say what is it that is technologically possible at well under $500 to achieve in terms of accuracy from an affordable watch. And I bring you a good example to that.
So from a technical point of view, let's just, for the uninitiated that may have stumbled across this channel, I often read about, let's say, a Seiko movement in H35 or whatever, that it's got a plus or minus variance of whatever it is, 35 seconds plus or minus, but that it can be trimmed or made more accurate by being rebalanced, by being tweaked out and inside by a talented watchmaker, and can just be made a better watch and more accurate. Is that something that can be done to most watches, or are there movements that actually simply cannot be made more accurate, or because the technology is basically the same, unless you get into complicated Rolex or Omega release systems, then is it just an amount of time somebody wants to spend? Can I make my NH35 as accurate as my, I don't know,
your Panerai, yes. A Rolex, no. But no, it's all about work. Like, you look at American micro brands like Notice, Veyer, any of them who do the USA assembly, and they regulate their movements. And if you look on the site for a standard Miyota or a Seiko, you'll see their accuracy specs, and they are significantly better. They're not necessarily COSC, but they're significantly better than these crazy wide tolerance of the out-of-the-box movement. Any movement, if you don't regulate it and adjust it, is going to run terribly, regardless of how well it's made. It really just is the care to make sure it's set up right. If you put a car together, but it's not tuned, it's going to run terribly. It's the same thing with a watch. Things to do with lubrication practices, regulation. A lot of these, it really is not regulated by a human when it comes out of the factory. They set it up, that's pretty solid, and they have these really wide tolerances. Usually the machines get it right, more correct than the tolerances. And so that's why most people who own a NH35 or 4R35, if it's a Seiko branded watch, experience better timekeeping than the outer parameters of these tolerances, because usually they get it closer to that. But you can take any of these movements, regulate them, and they're going to run better. But most brands don't do that. If they're buying them just out of the box and fitting them to a watch, they're certainly not doing that. So you see it on a smaller scale when brands go that extra mile, but it's not necessarily the standard of practice for a big brand that's selling hundreds of thousands of units a year.
And so are we basically saying that it's becoming more and more important that actually we just shouldn't be letting brands away with just selling effectively time guesstimators, as you say, David?
Yeah, it's a QC issue basically, and also it's an investment issue. It's not that it cannot be done. Technologically, it absolutely can be done. And I also bring an example from 246 years ago. We could make portable watches, pocket watches, a quarter of a century ago that were several times, like maybe 10 or 15 times more accurate than what we do today. And I don't think humanity could have produced too many things 250 years ago that we cannot produce today on an industrial scale. There are examples, but at the same time, I think we have... to imagine what it took for a person to create a watch that was maybe 10 or 15 times more accurate than these freaking Seikos, next to a flittering candlelight with hand-operated machines. They could do it. And then you have Seiko in the semiconductor micro nonsense business. And then they're like, oh, well, this is way beyond what we can do. No, it's not. It's just that they like to create this large range of error where they can get away with a lot of things without having to face warranty issues or claims or lawsuits or whatever else. That, oh, my watch is out of spec because it gained 4 minutes in a week, which is totally unacceptable. But they can say, oh, no, well, actually, that's just the way it is. You just got screwed and, buy your watch, essentially. And there are a lot of stories of people taking these to their local watchmaker or whoever. They open it up and they can regulate it relatively well. It's just an extra effort that it takes to regulate these and check them again that Seiko is not willing to do to probably keep the price down or the cost down on these movements.
Yeah, I mean, on the Seiko NH35, it's not on a Rolex with a free-sprung balance. There's these tiny screws along the balance wheel. You need a special tool. You can easily screw up your watch. On a Seiko, it's literally a little lever and you just nudge it. And if we have machines that can mill down to microns, we definitely can make a machine that just nudges the regulator on a time grapher. But to do it manually, there is kind of a bit of back and forth. You throw it on a time grapher, you regulate it, you check it, and you kind of compare the results and you adjust it further if needed. But to do it manually, it's not necessarily a super swift, easy process. And so when a company is just churning these out and just is drop shipping them, that's going to be the first thing to get cut from the production line.
Yeah, but for example, I bring the example of Swatch's System 51 that Ricky was showing here on the screen. That little video that I managed to find from Swatch, which is a different kind of worms. But they did make the System 51 like a decade ago, even more, and they have engineered this to be maybe the first. But definitely among the only mechanical watch movements that are entirely assembled by machines, 100%, completely, from scratch to the finished operating movement. It's all built by machines. And at the time of the launch, they said it would be -7 + 7 seconds per day accurate. And then they have changed or updated that to -5 + 15. But even then, the fact that a machine can put something like this together and then regulate it, and the way that they regulate it is not with a little nudger, but rather a laser that erases a little bit of material from the balance wheel and thus changes the way that it behaves. Not entirely unlike those little microstella adjustment screws that Ripley mentioned in the periphery of Rolex watch balance wheels, but also, of course, many other watches use those variable moment of inertia screws. And basically, this is also a variable moment of inertia adjustment to the balance wheel, but you can do it with a freaking laser. And then nobody has to touch it, and then it's just boom, out of the box, -7 + 7, even -5 + 15 is 20 seconds in terms of range, where Seiko's is 80 seconds. So one of these machines entirely made, or movements entirely made by machines, are 4 times more accurate than whatever TMI can do.
Well, I'd love to know how, if you just took a random sampling of like 1,000 System 51 movements and NH35s and actually compared their accuracy, because I've noticed across the board, the Japanese are pretty conservative with their timekeeping specs, and most keep time better than it. Whereas the Swiss often have very, very strong claims as far as the timekeeping. But, I've definitely had some COSC rated watches that, that movement was rated before it was put into a case and then shipped to me and all of that. And it's running outside of COSC. So it'd be interesting to see if they actually wanted to be not buffering their margins to eliminate returns or to try to hype up their specs, but if they were actually being entirely honest about what people should expect. It'd be really interesting to see how much, what the actual difference in the timekeeping would be.
Yeah, because it does seem to be a Japanese thing, whereby their timekeeping commitment is much wider than the average Swiss watch.
Well,
so is that a sweeping generalization, David? You're shaking your head at me.
No, it's just that a lot of people comment saying, "Oh, my watch actually runs way more accurately than minus 35 plus 45," and
you just hope so.
Damn well should. I mean, that's that's basically a broken watch. At that point, when you're nearing a minute of deviation per day, then that's I'm happy for you, but that's basically how it should be. And
it's turning. It's the way they've managed to turn like a flaw into a positive. Yeah, this is only designed to keep time within 45 seconds a day, and it's doing it within 30 seconds a day. Hallelujah!
I've been looking at it all wrong. Seiko watches are over-engineered. Look, they perform well within spec, even though that spec, is absolutely destroyed by a watch that was designed way before electricity had been, would have been invented. So it's just, I think, an interesting point. And I think I also thought to myself about those times whenever I was chatting watches with someone who's not a watch enthusiast. And I still remember these times because generally speaking, people have this mild shock, or they're like, am I getting this right? Like, are we still making, like, how can a mechanical watch that costs $400-500 be so inaccurate? Like, is that where we are in terms of technology? And I remember having had to explain this over the years to in some of these discussions that no, this is not like where we are. It's just that some of these movements are hideously inaccurate and are within specs. So because people tend to have high expectations when they buy a watch for $500 because, they might not treat themselves to a $500 whatever you want to, call it. Like maybe not even like a piece of clothing or a furniture or another item around the household or whatever else. If you spring for, $500 and you're not an enthusiast of that segment, you are thinking, well, I'm buying into the good stuff here, right? Because I'm not buying a $50 or $100, $150 thing to tell me the time. I'm spending 3 times as much than where I would draw the line for something entry level and very basic. And if I'm spending quite that much, how am I scraping the bottom of the barrel here in terms of performance? That's just wild.
Okay, a couple of questions that have come from this because some in the chat as well. Do take part in the chat. aBlogtoWatch Weekly Live. First of all, on the COSC side, have any of you ever taken a fairly new watch that's COSC certified back to an AD and been challenged that only applies to it when it's out of the case, and then proceeded to have a fight?
No.
This is
a good question.
It's not within the COSC, but they're perfectly within the right to say, well, it's not. You're not analysing it within the same parameters because it's cased up and moving.
Take the dial off and
I insist you take this apart here and now.
You put it into a room at 15 degrees Celsius for 8 days or whatever ridiculous stuff. Yeah, that's a really good question, but no brand in their right mind would challenge that.
So I'm curious as to whether anyone's ever had that as a knockback. What's the most inaccurate watch any of you have owned straight out of the box? Mine is a Gorilla watch. Just, I don't know how it lost about 5 minutes a day, I think. And it was it's got its own module on it, but it's an ETA movement as a base, I think.
It must have been the spring drive, probably.
Spring drive.
I wish I could have said it with a straight face. I couldn't.
Spring drives are awful.
That was just the best. I don't know what it was. But it's unfair to single out a watch like that, because what can happen is that you can magnetize a watch without knowing. You rest your hand here on the laptop, you have speakers or whatever else. So it's very easy to magnetize a watch these days and then claim that this is a crappy movement. It's not. You just magnetize.
Look at David excusing the watch industry, having written an article. Oh no, it could be something else.
Well, there's always outliers. I'm trying to think if there's like a single movement or something where I've just had nothing but bad luck with it. But there's always hit and misses. There's plenty of Rolex that go straight back to the AD within their warranty period for some adjustment or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It really is. I can't like point to the Miyota 8 series, 9 series, Seiko, 4R, whatever, and say, oh, yeah, that was really bad. I've definitely had some 7S Seiko movements that were woeful, but it was also something I purchased on Amazon years after that model was discontinued. Like definitively, that model was not available for years. Found one on Amazon, purchased it. At this point, God knows what warehouse it's been kicked in, how many people have dropped it. Was it returned after some YouTuber filmed something with it? Who knows what happened? So again, like David said, there's a million things that can happen to a single watch, but I don't know if there's a single movement that is just absolute rubbish.
Yeah, I'm just laughing here because someone in the chat is saying it was James is saying, oh, it's a Psycho King turtle, had to get it regulated twice, and I'm thinking, was it running slow? It's a turtle.
Well, interesting. James also asked this question, the conspiracy theorist that he is. Do manufacturers specifically not allow you to time graph press watches? I'm not aware of that. I think it's just that we're too lazy to time graph everything that comes into the door.
But I mean, what would the point be? Like, hey, this press sample that was sent to me after 8 other journalists had their way with it is running. This is not an accurate assessment of how you should expect that watch to perform.
The least of the problems is time graphing press samples. It's normally getting all the junk out from them to want to actually wear them or quickly take the photograph when they arrive to show the people that send you just how scratched it is when you got it from the last journalist that looked at it. So that you don't get the blame for how the thing turned up.
I would only time graph something if it actually ran like way out of spec. If I could see something that was just like absolutely ruined in terms of performance. I do pay attention to the performance though, so it's quite important that it's within spec. But as you say, it's like press cars. They live a tough life, and while that can a red line a day keeps the mechanic away, an Italian tune-up can help any car. Basically, they say. I'm not so sure about watches, though.
So, David, the future of this, is this just going to get worse, or is this just an observation article? Here's the state of the industry.
It can only get better.
Only get better.
As long as they're making these, it's getting worse. Every day when they make one of these watches that's so hideously inaccurate and velvet in spec, then it's just not great. But I would like to imagine and picture that maybe these brands are working on stepping their game up. If you look at how far Orient has come, for example, and Orient Start, that their quality has always been decent, but now it's incredible how far they have come, and that's a big brand, a part of a big group, and it still is like wow, a pretty impressive stuff. So we can see we vote with our money, and if we keep on buying crap and trying to justify it for the brands and say and come up with excuses, because I see it in the comments sometimes. People say like, oh, why do you want extreme accuracy? And I'm like, I don't want extreme accuracy. I just don't want extreme inaccuracy. That's basically it. And sometimes what happens is people are like, oh, it's antiquated. It's just a silly hobby anyway. And I'm like, well, it is. But at the same time,
listening to a podcast, reading the website with it on, go away and do something else.
Yeah. I mean, it's silly, but still, we should not be going back to, medieval standards of accuracy just because it's antiquated technology. The whole beauty, or not the entire beauty of this hobby, but a big part of it, at least for me, is that we are still, keep advancing this. And you look at a watch and you think to yourself, wow, how did they make this? But if I look at a case back, which is a hideous case back on these Edifice watches, or that's the terrible looking movement, and you look at it and you think to yourself, wow, this gains 45 seconds a day. That's awesome. You're not scratching your head. How did they do this? If you look at like a 9 series Miura or something that is just a little bit better, or if you look at the System 51, again, entirely produced by machines, and you are scratching your head. How did a machine put this together and regulate it to within spec? That's quite up there in terms of beauty of watchmaking.
I think we need a new test. So what was the most accurate form of time telling before the escapement watch, Breguet or whomever came
probably
along?
Like water running through a hole,
or a sand. I'm wondering if what we should do is we should have a new test. We should like get some NH35, some Seikos, some Casios, or anything in, and time grapher, not against a time grapher, but against like a sundial.
Whatever the ancient Babylonians had.
Exactly. Against the most accurate other thing that didn't use the whole pendulum concept, and see if it's more accurate than a sundial or a sun timer or something like that. So
not a sundial. We need something mechanical.
A water clock. So if anyone knows what the most accurate thing was before the wristwatch, the pendulum, all that kind of stuff, then do let us know. Maybe, yeah. I mean, you can get fairly accurate sundials. I mean, I wouldn't know because it's not sunny over here, but it's maybe more accurate where you guys are. You can test the sundial.
It's just a blur. Your sundial is basically just like a vague shadow cast somewhere.
See clouds moving over it all. But then, I suppose if maybe we test it against like a solar-powered watch, that would be a fair test. A Scottish sundial against a Scottish solar-powered watch. See which one is actually more accurate from scratch. So we fully discharge the solar-powered watch, we set up the sundial, we'll let the clouds pass and see which one tells the time first. So yeah, a new test.
Ace Jewelers of Amsterdam and German watchmaker Nomos are back with another exclusive set of 50 pieces to help celebrate the 50th anniversary of the popular and dynamic retailer of horology. This is not the duo's first successful collaboration, with these new exclusive products being their 8th and 9th limited edition watches respectively. This time, Ace Jewelers and Nomos focus on 2 sizes in the Metro Neomatic collection, each with a distinct palette of Dutch aristocratic orange colors. For centuries, orange has signified some of the core values of Holland, including personal freedom, tolerance, pride, and overall good cheer. 2 distinct multicolor orange dials were created by the renowned designer Mark Braun for these new limited edition Metro Neomatic 35mm and Metro Neomatic 39mm models. Both of the watches contain Nomos' celebrated in-house made automatic caliber DUW 3001 mechanical movement, which are visible through the rear of the steel Metro Neomatic cases. Stylish and full of value, these are fine timepieces with a fun regional flair that can appeal to enthusiasts everywhere. With included free worldwide shipping, price for the Ace Jewelers and Nomos Metro Neomatic 50th anniversary limited edition watches start at €2,810, excluding taxes. Learn more at acejewelers.com.
Now, moving on, last week, Ripley nominated, this is in our kind of series, you know how you get these YouTube series where people compare stuff to what watch is most like a car, you know, Mercedes is the Patek Philippe. Well, we thought that that's just a bit easy, so we thought, let's just pick some really random stuff. So we've had some actors in films, we've had Hungarian, what would you describe it? Cultural icons. Folklore heroes. And for Ripley last week, he nominated 3 shops that we don't have anywhere else or brands other than the United States. So the first one up, and it's surprisingly fun doing this. I didn't expect it. So first up, what watch is most like Golden Road Brews? First of all, Ripley, tell us about Golden Road Brews. This is, of course, our unsponsored segment. If any of these brands would like to sponsor us, it's podcast at ablogtowatch.com. Ripley?
Oh, well, they're one of the big ones. They've got a massive compound thing on the other side of the LA River from me. This is one of those ones you'll see at like LAX airport. They'll have one there. Fairly large. There's a general focus on IPAs and sort of some bizarre flavors in there, although they make certainly more regular beers as well. Somewhat generic, but not like your Budweiser. It's like generic, almost craft, but not really because it's so big type of deal, where it's the slightly more enlightened choice than just grabbing a Miller or a Coors, where Coors Light advertises how cold the beer is, which is astounding to me because that's entirely based on my refrigerator. If the key selling point is how cold it is.
Go back to Ripley's refrigerator. That was about 100 episodes ago.
It's still running strong after the second repair to it. My God. But yeah, so it's nothing exceptional. It's certainly drinkable. You see it somewhat everywhere, but it's a slightly more enlightened choice than the standard beers you'll find at like a a sports game. Although you probably will find these at a lot of sports games out here. I'm pretty sure they have these at Dodger Stadium.
Well, I reckon the line to tag on has a beer for every taste and occasion. And that made me think, well, what watch brand either has such a large number of SKUs that the website is completely impenetrable, much like this one, or badges itself as the everyman brand. And I was actually leaning towards Omega as being the watch brand most like this, because it's just baffling. The range of SKUs and Speedmasters. Breitling's running close up, but maybe David and Ripley, you have slightly more enlightened thoughts than me on this.
Let's choose someone not a luxury brand. I think we should find a high SKU.
It's got to be Docs.
I was thinking Seiko. They make a million different things. You like anime, you like Gundam, you like Jaws the movie, you like King Turtles, you like anything, they make a watch for it. It's a kind of the enlightened choice as far as, among enthusiasts, entry-level people. It means you didn't just get a Timex or something or go to Walmart. You had to look a little bit harder for a Seiko.
Yeah. This doesn't have a Seiko vibe to me.
Yeah,
so
and there's
Seiko,
a lot of
Seiko
good
vibe.
in Seiko, but there's also a lot of not good, and that's exactly how I feel about a beer for every occasion. They can miss me with that guava cart.
I wouldn't want to drink a street cart. That's not what I want. Why would you call anything you drink a street cart?
It's not like burnt oil and giblets.
I should point out to Joseph in the chat that I am teetotal, therefore what I'm salivating at is not the beer on offer. I do wonder whether the whole Seiko reference is, this is alcoholic and therefore time becomes a social construct after you drink so much of it, much like Seiko and Casio watch timing. So maybe Seiko isn't such a bad shout for an alcoholic drink. What's your favourite one of these, Ripley? You're obviously a consumer of the product.
I honestly don't drink it that much. Probably one of the regular IPAs or Pilsner type of things. There's so many different flavors that I never try. It's rarely the beer brand I reach for, but they have a giant brewery out here that serves food, and so sometimes I'll be there. And I honestly, how much I love the brand, I couldn't tell you what I last ordered a picture of. So that's how it goes.
Good stuff, right? So we settle on Golden Road Brews as being the Seiko of beer. Right, next up is this, if I can find it. Where's it gone? Where's the knife one?
ProTech.
Where's the knives? ProTech. It's not showing in my system.
Interesting.
Oh, there we go.
They're based in Los Angeles or California, and they actually can't sell them they can sell them here. You can't carry their knives here.
You can't sell any of this in the UK. Yeah.
Really?
You certainly can't carry it. You can sell it, but you're not be able to do anything with it. Like knives that have, it's a while since I looked at this, but you're not allowed spring-loaded knives, I think, in the UK. You can have open clasp, whereby you have to have a sliding action to open it, like a safety knife like these. But anything that flicks or like a butterfly knife are illegal in the UK.
Why is the butterfly knife illegal? If a man knows how to use that competently, let him do that. It doesn't open faster. It doesn't do anything. If they can use it, they're a borderline ninja. Just let it happen. They can kill you with a toothpick.
Leave the ninjas alone. Okay, so I don't know. I looked at this and thought, just the first one that pops up.
So American, by the way, right here on the screen.
Yeah,
I can hear the eagle scream.
This is an eagle, a flag.
It should just make that sound whenever you open it.
I can smell the trailer park from here.
Gold, yes.
This gave me. I immediately went to something like Romain Jerome. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah,
Romain Jerome, probably.
Romain, I immediately went to them. I don't know why.
That's a good call.
But I don't know. It just the Americana vibe off of this is strong.
It is. Now, let me add a little more insight. They make everything in-house. They have a bunch of machines down here in Southern California. The price points, they start out at like a couple $100, but they go up well into the thousands for the custom stuff. They're extremely detail-oriented. I was looking at the knives when I visited the factory that were being discarded as rejects, and I struggled to find the imperfections or blemishes on them. And it could literally be a slight asymmetric spot in the anodizing on a handle or something like that. Super detail oriented. They're all automatic style knives. Some type of spring-loaded thing for the most part. They do some fixed blades and stuff. So they're pretty specialized in that regard, but it's a large price point range.
I also wondered, they do seem to do like limited editions.
Plenty of limited editions.
So what brand is also... any excuse for a limited edition?
This could be a Panerai, basically. They even had like an engraved...
Well, we've got the wee. We just need to get the wee, clasp thing on the Luminor, so it's spring loaded. And
that's illegal in the UK now.
Illegal in the UK. Let's make Panerai illegal in the UK. That would solve so many problems. So protect the Panerai of knives, or
they perform a lot better than a Panerai. I feel like they're a cut above in terms of attention to detail.
So what's a cut above a Panerai?
I don't know. What was that Seiko that David was discussing?
I think this could be also like maybe the Casio ProTrack, just to make it like really, really confusing. So we have ProTrack and ProTrack.
Yes, okay.
From Casio.
They have not to be confused with ProTech, which is the Barry's brand, who makes the tritium tube watches.
Yeah. Also, I thought Zinn, because like Zinn, whereby it's a tool watch, they also like throwing in mother of pearl, Damascus, other bits and pieces, which is what these guys seem to be into, like proper tool watch, but let's just make it a bit blingy for no good reason. I don't know if blood washes off easier from mother of pearl than it does from titanium or stainless steel.
That's what I heard, yeah.
That's we heard.
So interesting thing about this brand, all of their materials are made in America with the exception of one. The bronze they use is the exact same bronze that Tudor uses for the Black Bay series. And
so made in China?
I think it actually comes from Europe. It's that like... aluminum bronze, or not, instead of the zinc bronze like the CUSN8 we always see. I'm actually having a hard time with this one. There's they operate just like the brand, like a much smaller brand, but they are fairly well known and bigger. So I want to call them more like one of the more well-known luxury brands, but they're a lot more hand built and a lot more care goes into them than a lot of the big luxury watch brands.
Lange and Söhne, the Lange and Söhne of watches or knives?
Not even close.
No. Not close. You don't take it apart 3 times and put it back together again. Okay, so the jury's out. Unless you give me any advance on Panerai, then I'm calling it this is the Panerai of knives.
Yeah, so let's go with that.
Yeah, okay, it's either Panerai that or it's a high-end independent that's sort of gotten bigger than the kind of like small boutique styles.
Okay, now my favourite brand for the week is the final one for today. I will have an argument with this shortly. The Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water.
Crystal Geyser. How do you spell geyser? We don't say that much in America.
Geyser. You say geyser. I say geyser.
No, a geyser's the old man. The geyser is that thing that shoots water.
But a geyser's what you do. You go out geysing in this country, which is what happens in Halloween. You go out geysing.
What is that? That sounds dirty.
It's where you dress up in costume for Halloween. It's called guysing. Well, actually, that's not technically guysing.
It's disguising.
It is guysing, but the guysing is also related to Guy Fawkes, I think. I may just be mixing a number of cultural icons of the UK into one thing because they'll happen around about the same time. Made even more complicated by the fact that where I live is the only place in the world where Halloween is not the same day as it is everywhere else. So what day is Halloween in your country, Ripley?
The October 31st.
David, do you have Halloween or the equivalent in Hungary?
Not really.
Not really.
I mean, a little bit, but not in the way where you go around and you're not.
But would it be October? Would it be October the 31st? If it was,
we have sort of like at the with the first of November, something like that. But it's not about dressing up and just.
So where I live, within about a 10-mile radius of where I live, Halloween is the last Friday of the month, whenever that falls, of October. So if you happen to move into this area of the world in between two, then you're shocked when somebody turns up on Monday the 3rd, on like 2 or 3 days before everybody else, dressed up, asking for stuff, if nobody's told you that in Kilmarnock, Halloween works differently than it does everywhere else. Anyway, back to this Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water. I was immediately drawn to the fact that this appears to be selling itself as having come from Switzerland because it mentions the Alps, but clearly they're not importing water from Switzerland to sell it in California. So that got me thinking, which watch brand is doing the best impression of being Swiss when everyone knows it really isn't?
An Alpine spring water and not have it from the Alps?
No, the Alpine, there's the Swiss Alps, but the Alpine just means above a certain, like the Alpine line. You know, if you are hiking in the mountains, it's above a certain elevation.
You're making it up.
So from what I understand, the Crystal Geyser plant, it's a bit north from here in Los Angeles. Like if you're driving up to like Mammoth Mountain, you'd see it there along the way.
Okay. Bottled at source. Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water is the... See... I have some slight involvement with these spring water companies in the UK, and I know where this water comes from for most of them. It comes out of whatever town centre that they can get a pipe into an aquifer. So some of the water that people say comes from Scotland, yeah, it does come from Scotland, but it comes from a town centre full of roundabouts. And I know this because I'm collecting it in the tankers. Yeah, so some water's not quite as microfiltered and
that's why they have to microfilter it.
Exactly, get all the junk out of it. So so I'm thinking, which Swiss brand is the least Swiss?
They're ubiquitous in America. If there's 2 water brands you're going to see, it'll be Arrowhead and Crystal Geyser. I prefer Crystal Geyser, but it's like probably one of the 2 most common brands.
Right, so we are looking for a brand with dubious origins to its interior, basically.
Are they dubious? Rick just thinks Swiss, but like right here on the bottle, it's like a map of where they're located.
That looks like a ski resort map of somewhere near Zurich.
Lange, California, right by Mount Whitney. Bottled at the spring source near Sierra Nevada mountains.
You're saying I can climb a mountain somewhere near where you live and I'll see that view?
Well, California is a very long state, but you'll have to go up a bit. But yes, you'll have to go up a bit. It looks like it's close to Mount Whitney, which is quite tall, and that's a bit north from here. I don't think you'd be able to see it. We have so much smog.
That's right. So that's what they're microfiltering out of the water. So I'm getting vibes-wise in the chat. They're talking about Timex.
I would agree.
Yeah, Timex. Timex is a good shout.
It's American. It's not expensive. We buy 36 of these for like $4. You know, it's really it's dirt cheap. Can
you drink the water out the taps in California?
I mean, yeah. What superpower do you want? It might come down to
that. That's a good sales point, I guess. Right. So Timex, any advance on Timex? Fiji. Yeah, I saw this in the supermarket. Fiji water, which does genuinely appear to be water imported from Fiji that I've seen being sold on the shelves in Glasgow, which seems the least environmentally friendly thing.
Yeah, that's your way of projecting to your peers that you don't give a hoot about the environment or whatever else, and you're happy to overpay for the privilege to show this to everyone. Yeah,
exactly. So, has anyone ever tried it? Does it taste like Fiji?
It's good water. I mean, it's not that rare out here. It's like $1 more than the other waters, but it's good water. It's like Rolex. You see a lot of it. It's not like rare or anything. It's objectively good. There is a bit of a stigma attached to it. I think that's a very apt comparison.
I think we have a winner in the chat for the which watch brand is most like Crystal Geyser water from Boris. It's Hamilton. Pretends to be American, pretends to be Swiss, mostly made in China.
Oh my goodness!
I think that's a winner. I like that. That's fine.
I'm on this Crystal Geyser website and I can't for the life of me find 7 sources, but I have no idea where. Like I couldn't find the location.
our sources. Oh,
I can't find where this is made. Where are these freaking where?
Sasha, San Bernardino.
Oh wow, they found a lot of them.
Did they not just sell this in being locally sourced for transportation?
And
they're transported from the north of California to the south of California to bottle it. It's about the length of the UK. Does it give you... There we go. There's a mountain. Yep. Lange, California. Very nice. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it wins the Hamilton, although... it is now being disputed by Breaking New Beats in the chat. Spiritually Hamilton, but they're too expensive now, and the water is good water. Very cheap. There we go. Right. Well, that's that. Which is, what is like a watch brand. We need a new category for next week. It was going to fall on Ariel to choose the category and choose the things, but he's chickened out he's unable to pick things, which is bizarre, really. But he is genetically incapable of choice.
I've known him for so long, and yet I did not know this about him until we started this podcast. And it's 180th episode where we learned that he cannot choose a number. Between 0 and 100, let alone 3 brands.
Well, so what should we make the category? Anyway, ideas in the chat. I was contemplating, because of the early chat, that we should do which Nico, find some famous Nikos as like a watch brand, but there's not famous enough Nikos, unfortunately. So that won't work. I thought maybe it has to revert back to I was thinking B-list celebrity, because watch brands are so keen on their A-listers that we should find some watch brands that match some good B-listers. So think of a B-list celebrity, reasonably well known, but wouldn't be able to support a movie franchise or a superhero movie all on their own. I am thinking, who would you not go to see the movie for? But if they were also a co-star, they'll be all right, because the first one that sprung to mind is Tim Robbins. Robbins, Shawshank Redemption. You wouldn't go to see a Tim Robbins movie just because Tim Robbins was in it, I don't think. Would you?
I don't think I'd go to see any movie just because someone's in it.
Was you not? Well, then everyone to use a B-lister then, Ripley?
Everyone is...
It should be easy. Everyone is a B-lister. No.
There's B-list, C-list, D-list, and we go all the way down to double Z. Half of the people that are in our inbox because they're wearing a watch, I've never heard of them. I couldn't tell you the industry. I can Google them, and I still can't tell you what they do. It's remarkable.
Okay, so name somebody you want us to find. So you have a choice. So a choice each. I'm going the Tim Robbins of watches. Ripley?
Come back to me. I need to find
out. We need a week to make our minds up. It's not going to be like off the cuff like that.
No, wait. You just accused Ariel of being incapable of making a choice. I'm asking you to make a choice of all the actors in the world that haven't won an Oscar. Let's say, pick a B-list celebrity. And then we've got a week to find a watch that we think is like this. I'm choosing Tim Robbins. You'll find the watch most representative of Tim Robbins' brand or specific model. If the chat wishes to help,
I'm just going to go to my inbox and type media alert. I guess that's going to be it.
Okay.
Oh, that's D-list and down from there. Let's go with... now that I Google B-list celebrities, I found the list on IMDb, so I'm choosing because I can choose. I just don't know this in my head. It's Kit Harington.
Kit Harington, that's a good shout. The Kit Harington of watches. Ripley, do you wish the help of IMDb B-list?
I just Googled that as well. I am... should it be someone I even know?
No.
No, you pick someone.
Well, I mean, reasonably.
It's all about the searching. It's all about the learning.
Okay. Who is...
Makes great radio, this. I hope you're watching it on YouTube.
Britt Robertson. Birth year, 1990. Know nothing about this person. They were third down on Britt, B-R-I-T-T, Robertson.
Robertson.
I Googled
Male or
B-list
female?
actors. Third one down on the list of the thing that auto-populates from Google's AI.
Britt Robertson, an actress, female. Yep, okay, that's
Brittany
fine. So
Leanna Robertson Floyd.
Oh, there we
known
go.
professionally
Excellent.
as Britt Robertson.
Tim Robbins, Kit Harington, and Right, this is confusing me already. So that's our 3 for next week. I think we just give it to Ariel and tell him he's got to do all the work. We did the hard bit. We did the choosing. In Ariel's world, we did the hard bit because we made the choices. He just has to find a similarity to something else. So that should be a doddle for him. Okay, so that's for next week. Right, let's look at some watches this week. What time is it? We'll just go straight to hit miss, maybe, I think. So, David, where are you and what are you wearing or got on the table today?
Yeah, I have this little beauty in Budapest on my table. It's the MTGB 3000 Flare Red edition, of all things. Cool. Look at it. Look. With a luminous
everything
bezel. Yeah. For whatever reason. Okay. Yeah, cool. Pretty cool.
Good.
Uncomfy, but good.
It reminds me of the original Nadal RM with that like melted popsicle looking red and yellow color scheme.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Ripley, who you repping and what you wearing?
I'm wearing the Vostra Vector. Interesting one. It costs about as much as a Moon Swatch, but it's made by the RZE guys. They basically made a second brand to kind of serve as a creative outlet to make the stuff that wouldn't make sense for RZE to make. It's actually a really cool watch for like $270 or whatever it is.
Cool. Good. In Scotland, we're in Paris. Right, first up is, I think we will go for this from Blancpain. Ripley. Blancpain 50 Fathoms Tech.
The tech.
Reference 5029 Dive Watch. The tech.
Tell
us a story, Ripley. The mistake.
Well, the tech is sort of this series of like modern 50 fathoms. So obviously Blancpain makes a ton of 50 fathoms. They've got the bathyscaphe. They've got the regular ones. This is sort of the modern-ish interpretation of it. It's not supposed to be over-spec'd or anything like that. This isn't like the deep sea equivalent of a Submariner. This is really more like kind of offshore version of Royal Oak. Modern execution, but we're not really like necessarily moving the needle as far as outright capabilities. Not a perfect comparison, but that's kind of how these are positioned. These originally debuted with that really interesting tech, like, what was it? The Gambasa one, limited edition. It had a it like had a 3-hour timing bezel. It was made for technical diving and like rebreather, closed circuit stuff. Then they made a limited edition one that helped their Ocean Foundation, which was basically this watch with some blue accents. And now they made this watch, which marks the tech's integration as a core collection model into Blancpain's catalog. Other than the orange accents, it's entirely the same, with the one exception that this one now has a quick release system on the lugs. So on the previous version of this watch, the limited edition with the blue accents for the Ocean charity thing, you had to screw it on. Now it comes with a quick release system and they give you a few straps. And it's like $22,700.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's a very expensive watch. I haven't been able to wear one of these around too much. It's quite large at 45 mil, but there's no real lugs. There's this single central lug that mounts into the strap. So it's basically just a 45 millimeter circle. And yes, you get a manually operated helium gas escape valve because definitely a Swatch Corp thing.
Did you mention what's tech about this?
I think they just call it the tech they have a nice dial, absorbs 97% of all incoming light. It's like ultra black or super black or some ridiculous name for it. But it's really not, there isn't anything more tech about it other than it is a modern version of a 50 fathoms. It's unlike the other original one that had the bizarre like 3-hour timing complication in the extra hand. This is a 3-handed diver. It doesn't even have insane levels of water resistance or anything, but it's, I guess by tech they mean they've put a quick release system into it and it doesn't have lugs.
Maybe it's the escapement or something, or is that the same? Or
it's the same movement that you'll find in the others. Good movement, but not, it's not like they're talking about it's pretty standard fare, but it does seem that it's more about bringing a different vibe into the 50 Fathoms collection.
Alrighty.
Rick, are you on mute, or are you just mumbling into the ether?
Yeah, it's just mumbling. Like 1, 2, 3, go.
Mumbling.
Mumbles, maybe, 3 maybes. It's just kind of nothing to see here, I think.
It's other than generous, maybe.
Other than losing 22. Well, I mean, what was the depreciation is in this? $20,000 as soon as you walk out the shop?
No. I'm sure you can sell it for like 15. 15 straight out of the shop. Does it come with all 3 straps?
Unless I was reading the press release wrong, it comes with 2. So you choose. It just seems like they should just give you the third. Like just give you the third and have the full set.
Which one do you want?
Yeah, but we have confirmed that by 2 they don't just mean the one for the top lug and the one for the bottom lug.
They do actually mix and match.
No, and they do come in different sizes. So I think the reason for this quick release system is that so someone could wear this watch in their regular life, and then when they want to go diving and need that extra long strap, rather than keeping that weird third appendage thing that double, they can just swap out the strap and put on a longer one. So I think that's the reason why they give you 2, but I think they should give you 3 since there are 3 colors. That just makes sense.
Yeah, it does seem not very generous.
It's a rubber strap and it's a $22,700 watch. Like how much more could it be if they just put another in the box?
Yeah. Okay. David, any final reflections on this?
No, I don't think it bodes well for. I mean, it's just a bad look, isn't it? It's like it's just. These watches should be super freaking effing exciting. People used to analyze, every little detail of these 10, 15 years ago when the new 50 Fathoms came out. They tried to understand, why is it that handset? Why is it that design or this, whatever? And now it's just like, here's a, mishmash of indicators and like hands and textures and colors and do whatever you want with it. And it's very difficult to research these things and find connections between these decisions. These brands have stopped communicating entirely about why they are doing what they are doing. We have absolutely no idea what the hell is tech about this watch, why it doesn't have proper logs, how it's supposed to be any different to all the other when we have seen hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of expensive dive watches launched over the last few years. I think these brands should be going out of their way and going the extra mile to explain why we should care. And writing tech in orange above 6 o'clock is the weakest wink across the restaurant. Like, hey, there's something here, but I don't and do what should I do with that, right? How can these brands fail so consistently to create awareness, to create a buzz around these watches? It's just, I have absolutely no idea. How am I to feel excited about spending $22,000 on this watch? There's absolutely nothing in me that makes me want to enter a Blancpain boutique and ask about this watch and try it on and leave happily from that boutique and live happily ever after with the tech watch on my wrist. There's absolutely nothing in me.
I mean, what would you rather have remorse be like?
5 days on the dial?
5 days, yes.
What must the buyer's remorse be like walking out with $22,000 of this?
There's no tech in it at all.
Yeah, there was a moment for the 50 Fathoms, I felt, 4 or 5 years ago, where everyone got really back into it, and they just don't seem to have managed to capitalize on any of that goodwill that was available for the brand and for this particular line model. They could really have leaned into this is the dive watch for those that know more about dive watches than Rolex. They could have leaned into that whole competing against Rolex thing with this watch, because it's what it does in theory, but they just don't seem to be able to.
It's like a $23,000 Oris Aquis is kind of what it reminds me of. As David mentioned, I really wish that they had done more tech with the tech series, kind of like the first Gombasa one with the weird complication that most people are never going to use. But at least they're making like a watch for technical closed circuit divers. That's not a world most people are playing, but at least there's a reason for it being the tech watch, technical diving. Given how many other versions of the 50 Fathoms exist, and given that it also sort of exists as like a heritage piece where they're going to keep doing the ones that are vintage plays as well as these modern ones, I really wish that they, like David mentioned, they pushed the envelope and just kind of created a bonkers technical expose that would be fitting of the tech name.
Yeah. And to be fair, I said maybe because I see, if I look at the movement, if I look at the dial, if I look at various details of this watch, I see that there certainly are engineers and watchmakers within Blancpain who go to work and do a damn good job at what they have to do. It's more about the presentation and the way that these are, there's buzz or lack thereof created around these watches. That is what bothers me. And it's not that these are bad watches or that, these engineers are not doing their job. I think they are doing their job. But the fact that these are not communicated about at all is just what drives me nuts, basically, at this point.
And how do you operate? I mean, I know how you operate a manual helium escape valve. You unscrew it, presumably. But what tips you off that you need to use a manual helium escape valve?
Well, you don't know when it would equalize.
Process
so
you go,
I
you know
think,
what?
No, I think as soon as the descent starts, you just unscrew it and leave it unscrewed until it is completely equalized. Because you're not going to. There's not that like a light goes on. It's just steadily kind of changing.
See, now that would have been tech. Had a light gone on to say unscrew helium escape valve,
or you could just make it automatic like the rest of them, and it just does its little thing, vents the air, and you're done.
Yeah. So there we go.
It's a dive watch with 3 hands. That is 14.2 millimeters thick.
You do get a long power reserve. There's some barrels in there.
There's a huge battery in the back of it.
That's cool.
The rotor, I think, can be taken off and used as one of those throwing stars, but the looks of it, it looks so thick. If you look at the drawing, I'm not quite sure why.
The movement is
so
5.65 millimeters thick, so there's another 10 millimeters or 9 millimeters of watch around it.
Well, maybe it needs the helium escape valve because it just holds that much helium because there's so much void space in this watch. The risk is higher. It's just there's so much emptiness within the case because it doesn't make any sense, as you say, the thickness of the movement in comparison to the thickness of the watch. But there we go. I'm glad we only thought it was a maybe because goodness knows what we would have said had we all said it was a miss.
Well, it is going to be quite nice. Like if you gave me this watch, I would be stoked. I'd be happy. I'd wear it. Would I pay $23,000? Probably not. But it is at the end of the day, it's a high level Blancpain 50 Fathoms. It's not going to be a junk piece, but as David mentioned, this could have been a much cooler watch if they had invested a bit more time into explaining why this is cool and all of the things they did and why this is a worthy modern successor to one of the world's most famous dive watches.
It does get me thinking. I mean, you say that, Ripley, if somebody gave you this watch, you'd be going, oh, thank you very much. Are there any watches that if somebody gave you go, actually, you know what? No, that's okay. Just take it away. Are there any watches over $5,000, let's say, that somebody gave you this?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to give you this watch. Let's analyze that list.
There's a huge number of watches I wouldn't wear, even though they were more than $5,000.
Would you wear them or would you take them? There's plenty I wouldn't wear, but I think anything over $5,000, I'll take it. I could just use a dramatic paperweight at my desk or something,
All of David's watches in his house are paperweights. We know that already. He's got a lot of paper.
That's why you never see me wear one because I hate all of them. No, but it's true that it's just because somebody gives you a watch, it doesn't mean that, and it's expensive. There are certain associations with certain brands and certain models and whatnot that you might not want to have. And then there are some watches that are just uncomfortable to wear. Some of them are illegible. Some of them are too thick. Some of them are, whatever. So it's not necessarily a true fact that all of the watches over $5,000 are good watches. And if it's not a good watch, then why would you want to wear it?
I'm not saying that they're good watches. I'm saying that you wouldn't refuse them if they were given to you for free. I think I'm just traveling my inner Scotsman of going, yeah, if somebody offers me something for free, I'm taking it. I can always sell it.
Yeah, but then that's not wearing it. The question was, if somebody gave you a watch, would you wear it?
Fair enough. Would you wear it? Okay, that was my own question. I should really remember what I said. Right, okay. Good stuff. Right, next up then, let's look at this. Lange and Söhne. Zeitwerk date in 18-karat pink gold. Thoughts? I mean, it's just a pink gold version of the Zeitwerk we're all used to, and I imagine that we all love. Oh, well, let's play guess the price of the Zeitwerk.
Oh, God.
What do you think, Ripley?
87.
87. David?
I will say 75.
75. Oh, I'm reckoning this is in the hundreds. But okay, hold on a second. Down we go. It's got the date complication. It's pink gold. It's a Zeitwerk. It's $132,000. So lowballing it there by some distance, gentlemen.
132. The reason why I asked was this. Because I had a hunch that it would be really very, very stupid expensive for some reason.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And the reason why I asked is that my favorite Zeitwerk is the decimal strike. And those are 120, 130,000. So I'm not sure why I had this hunch, but I had this sense that maybe this would be as expensive as a decimal strike, which just doesn't make any sense, because why would you want to have a date instead of a striking mechanism on a freaking Zeitwerk? Of course, that's expensive. Yeah, that's true. It's fantastic, but it's very expensive too.
Do these watches work? This is my favorite watch. If I could have a one watch and done, I'd have a Zeitwerk. Do they work? Are they reliable? Sell me this watch like you were selling me a used car. Yeah, this will go on for another 20 years, no problem at all.
Probably
or
will.
Will it just break because it's delicate and got lots of moving pieces in it?
Don't knock it around. Probably that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Don't knock it around, and if you do ruin it, I guess it's going back to the same watchmaker who built it and already had to assemble it 3 times before you got it. So just put it on his tab, I guess.
What's interesting is that for something like this to even work and be put into mass production and then be in production for years on end, it has to be so amazingly, fantastically well designed and engineered that it has to work. It can't not work. It's like an engine in a GT3 911. It revs to 9,000. The whole thing is inches, it's like milliseconds away from exploding into a gazillion pieces, and yet it doesn't. And they have brought it into mass production. Yes, they had the issues with the early ones, but they figured it out. And now you can go and buy whatever, you can buy a GT3 RS, GT4 RS, Spider, whatever else, and you can buy these 4-liter engines that rev to 9,000. So that's a relatively large capacity engine running to an extremely high RPM. And there is this magical moment of engineering where you figure everything out and it just works and it cannot fail, and you can really lean into it and it still delivers. And the Zeitwerk, in my mind, is similar because it's a constellation of parts and solutions that somehow come together and work. And we have seen a huge number of watches over the 2000s and even the 2010s from very ambitious brands that try to do crazy movements with incredible time indications and time displays and all the rest of it. And we've seen a lot of them go out of business many times over. There's a reason why HYT is struggling. There's a reason why you don't really see Urwerk do some of the craziest things that they have developed. They just do whatever they found to work, and some of them, we managed to make it work so for 50 times or maybe for a limited edition. Richard Mille, a lot of these brands have created very creative and outlandish time displays, but some of the time don't really work that well. And the Zeitwerk, in my experience, having spoken to the people and having handled a good number of them over the years, is giving me the impression that there's a good chance that if you get a Zeitwerk, you can actually wear it and it will work.
Cool.
Which is insane.
How do you think the watchmaker, so the process at Lange and Söhne is they build the watch, then they take it apart, then they build the watch again. How would you feel as a journalist if you wrote the article, then you had to delete the article, and then you had to rebuild the article from memory? In this particular case, you got all the words were given back to you, so you write your article then all the words are put in a spreadsheet in a different order, like smallest word to longest word. Cool. Then you have to rewrite the article. Would that
the way it would work? There are sub-assemblies in a movement. So here as well, you would have to have the words within a sentence. They would be mixed up, but you have the words, but you put them together sentence by sentence. That's, I think, more realistic.
I think it'd be a really interesting test to actually take one, and I'll maybe do this. Watch Jeeves, ChatGPT can probably do this for us, to take an article of each of yours and send the article back to you with the words, as you say, arrange into
so
sections, like rearrange all the words, like each paragraph, and see how accurately you can put your own article back together. So that's going to be next week's challenge. I'll maybe even just reduce it to a couple of paragraphs, and without cheating, see how accurately you can get all the words back in the same order.
The problem is that it will not be a prettier article, you know. So with a watch, you actually gain something from this exercise, but here not so much.
So there we go. That's going to be next week's test. We'll see. Do you suppose Ariel will implode when given the choice of his own words to reorganize into the same thing? Because that'll be the ultimate conundrum. That the universe, the singularity of the watch universe will occur someplace in California next week when we give him that
We would
challenge.
have to have an ambulance standing by when he does this.
Good stuff. Right. Is this a Lange Söhne, a hit, a miss, or a maybe? 1, 2, 3, go. Can it be anything other than a hit ever? It really would have to implode when you wound it for the Zeitwerk.
Rose gold's not my favorite metal, but it still looks good in it, you know. So I think that's a pretty good testament to.
Question in the chat: do Lange Söhne make any watches in yellow gold? I'm not an Lange Söhne expert. I know that they're. I know that
we're
they're
not counting
fans
honey gold, right? Like that's
no. I know that Lange Söhne are fans of.
Yeah,
all the other
honey gold is yellow gold. It's just their yellow gold, you know. So I guess that.
We can take a quick visit to the Lange Söhne website and
already
see.
There. Way ahead of you. There are 4 yellow gold watches.
Yeah,
there's a Lange one, a Grand Lange one moon phase, a Datograph Handwerkskunst, and there's also Richard Lange.
Yeah,
so there are a couple of these.
That's quite a nice website, actually. It's quite, there you go. There's the range of 20 to 25 novelties. You can just go to whichever watch it is that you can't afford. Cool. Right. I finally today, let's see. We have some choices. Let's see if there's an article just appeared. No, we're not going to do the Sika design. We've done the Blancpain. We've done the Zeitwerk. I think there is a nice wee article here, if I can find it, that Ripley wrote, and I'm doing this just because, you'll know why in a minute, because it features a bun strap. The hands-on debut Vario X RZE Ultra Hex Trench Watch. It's got a bun strap, Ripley. Surely it does. Surely it's excellent, therefore.
It is. It's actually a really cool
definition.
Piece. RZE, Travis, who's that founded the company, is a commercial airline pilot for Singapore Airlines. So although they also operate out of Canada, technically they've got some, they're Singapore in nature, as is Vario. So they're both of these brands collaborated. They're both based in Singapore. It's their first collaboration with another watch company. So this trench watch design is Vario's, and it's done in RZE's materials. So the whole case of it, rather than being steel, is this sandblasted, hardened titanium stuff that RZE uses, the Ultra Hex. The yellow dial's enamel. There's one that's Timascus, which is a Damascus, but with titanium, different types. And then there's a luminous carbon fiber one, which is the one we're looking at here. Miyota 8 series movement, that is what's inside of it. 100 meters water resistance, screw down crown. Yes, it comes with a bund. Yeah, you can take off the pad if you don't want it. And this is not this is the smaller size, the 37 millimeter from Vario's catalog, not like the 41 or whatever. So you can actually wear it on the bund and it doesn't just overwhelm your wrist.
$499. I like this a lot.
$439, I think, for the yellow enamel dial, and then $499 for the Damascus and luminous carbon fiber ones. And I think that's 100 pieces each. They're limited editions.
Good. Right. Is it a hit? Is it a miss? Is it a maybe? 1, 2, 3, go. 2 hits and a maybe. David, why is this a hit for you?
Well, as much as I dislike bund straps in general, this is just a cheerful watch. It's a very endearing proposition. I quite like this. Overall, I think this is just bang on. Very nice.
I think my reason for maybe is, even with the bund strap, I think it'll wear too small for my liking. I think if it was a
you can put another bund under that. So you can layer them.
Double bund. Double bund. That's like, that should be the new thing. Double bunding. So we've got double bunding Nudgers, Clappage, and Watch Winking.
This is a strong day.
Double bondage.
It's a strong day. It's a strong day today. Double bondage. Double bondage. Nudges. Clappage. Yeah. So I think it's a bit smart. And geezer.
Crystal geezer.
Geezers. Watch geezers, yes. Anyway, so Ripley, big hit to you.
Yeah, it's a hit. I saw these really briefly when I had a quick chance to photograph them before having to give them to the brand themselves so they could launch them at Intersect last weekend. So it was I barely got to see them, just enough to snap some photos, but I really like them. I'm not big on bund straps. I'm not necessarily Bund-Averse. It's just never the one I reach for. World War I era trench watches, also not necessarily my go-to style if I'm looking for military field watch vibes. World War II is kind of more the era I look to, but everything on it works. I just really like them. Price point super fair, feels nice. And it also feels like an equal blend of both brands' identities. It's obviously Vario's design, but it's completely executed in RZE's modern materials and stuff. So it's fun, it's cheerful, not too expensive, and probably would be one of the first bund straps I would not immediately pull off the watch.
Cool. Good-o. Right. Well, that is our Bund content for today. We have ticked the Bund box. How was the watch show? What was it called again? To Intersect?
Well, there was Intersect last weekend, and just the other day was Minutes and Hours, both in LA. So it's been a lot of watch shows this week and local.
Excellent.
Both were fantastic. Very different types of vibes, but yeah, both were really, really well.
Favorite thing you came across that you hadn't come across before?
Watch-wise?
Yeah, well, it could be anything you like, but I assume watch-wise. Maybe there was a new drink from Crystal Geezer, whatever.
I'm trying to think. I got to see some of those Maurice LaCroix, like what is the one with like the two gears that intersect and they turn each other, but they're like different. Yeah, it's one of the masterpiece, but like it's got the name of those. Those were cool to see a bunch of different ones sort of side by side and play with some of their other stuff like the full ceramic. But those are ones I've seen before, obviously. I don't know, because a lot of these brands are ones we know and work with. You're ones that we've seen before. Oh, actually, hold on. No.
Oh, he has a plan.
Oh, I took a flyer. Sunrex.
Sunrex.
Specifically the Sunrex. Oh dear Lord, what is this one called? Banana Reef? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the Sunrex Banana Reef.
About your own.
Yeah, don't Google image that without like just. So Sunrex it's a brand. I guess it's a brand that has been started because they normally were making watches for like white label type of stuff. So they started their own brand. They're all solar powered, like Seiko chronographs. So and they're not expensive. The gentleman who was buying one next to me at the time paid, that one in the middle, the Banana Reef. He bought one of those. It's quite cool. It's interesting. Very vintage vibes, but I had never heard of this brand before. I like that there's solar mecha quartz chronographs. I think that's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're nice.
I don't know why more brands don't use the solar chronos, but it makes perfect sense. And yeah, $495 I think was what the gentleman paid for the one next to me.
Cool. There you go. There's a new brand for I imagine many of us to go and have a look at. Sunrex. Sunrexwatches.com. Go and have a look. As I say, this section, Hit Miss Maybe, is as yet unsponsored, but Sunrex, if you wish to. And that's fine.
Yeah, thankfully they had these cards so I could remember this. I would have never remembered Banana Reef for obvious reasons, so that's helpful.
Good. Right. Well, that's it for our main show this week. Tune in to aBlogtoWatch Weekly Live if you want to get some post-match chat, and tune in to aBlogtoWatch Weekly Live on a Tuesday morning around about 7:30 if you want to engage with the live show. Thank you, everyone in the chat this morning for joining us. If you wish to contact the show, it's podcast@aBlogtoWatch.com or hit us up on Instagram. We haven't done this for a while. Ripley, what's your Instagram?
Ripley.sellers.
David, drum roll.
I no longer use Instagram, but my account is probably still up there. Yeah.
So the underscore and the dot one, we've retired the underscore. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, I mean it's there. It's not retired, but it's just I just don't.
It's
deleted
preserved.
the app too. I mean,
preserved.
Yeah, he's preserved.
Yeah.
It's an archivist tool. Yeah.
Heritage
of excellent
Instagram.
photography.
Yeah, excellent. Good stuff.
Heritage. You'll have a heritage account soon, David. It'll be your research.
Exactly.
That's
exactly. And you can find me at Rick TikTok if you wish to. Right, thank you all for joining us. We will see you all again soon. Goodbye.
Bye everyone.